Good morning, party people. It is your host, Mad Morgan. How's everybody doing this morning? Me, I'm a little tired. It is a rainy day where I'm at, and doing the usual morning drop off. Today we're talking about fear of missing out. Yes, FOMO. FOMO is our topic for today. FOMO it is, and it is what it is. But hey, again, I'm your host, Matt Morgan, and we're going to talk about this a little today because it seems to be a driving force in today's world. And I should really say today's world. I think there's always been a serious case of FOMO. That's how come people are sheep. Um, and for those that don't know, fear of missing out, it's been a constant plague, actually. For some reason, we all want to be part of where the group is going. Not everybody. There are those individuals that are leaders that basically lead the pack. Some for malicious reasons or nefarious reasons, and others for genuine reasons. But those of us that go against the grain, walk our own path. We're either doing it because we're power hungry, we're doing it because we make our own decisions. You know, there's a lot of reasons why there are those exceptions. But anyways, let's go back to FOMO. Fear of missing out. It seems to affect people of all ages. It's usually, well, it's a good portion of how the world works. I mean, if you look at business, you look at this, you look at that. There's a large amount of people that will look at stuff presented to them and like, hey, so and so is doing that. I don't want to be out of the loop. I don't want to be out of what's hip. I don't want to be out of what everybody else is doing. Advertisers know this. Businesses know this. That's why you'll notice when you see commercials and stuff like that, they're advertising groups of people. They're making it seem like, oh, this is the norm. This is what everybody's doing. Subconsciously, they're like, hey, you don't want to miss out. Everybody else is doing this. You should buy our products, or you should do this activity, or you should do this, you should do that. And so they really suck people into it to be convinced that, hey, I got to do that too. But you see, that's the trend that needs to be broken because that's where individuality gets lost. We get suckered into somebody that is convincing enough or sets examples enough saying that we should do certain things, but without even giving second thought to what they're doing. It's just we don't want to miss out, so we're going to do it regardless. And that's like lemmings falling off a cliff. It's like, wow, okay, you should really think about what you're thinking about doing or following or whatever before you do it. And don't get so bent out of shape if for some reason you can't. Like, I love individuality. I do because it's different, right? I do it's because I see people from different backgrounds and cultures and communities and demographics and everything else. And a lot of them are cookie cutter. They all are. Their style's cookie cutter. Their actions are cookie cutter. It's like when something original comes along, you sit there and you go, wow. But when there's nothing individual that comes around, it's like, fuck, whatever. You know? And I see it all the time. But it's like, geez, that's boring. That's boring. You know? Stop fearing missing out. You can do anything you choose to put your mind to. You can be anybody you choose to be. You can be trendy. You can be not trendy. You can be popular. You can not be popular. You know? There's stuff that can be done. You just have to make the conscious call to say, hey, you know, hey, I don't care if I miss out on this. I don't care if that goes on and that goes on and this goes on. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm gonna do my own thing. I know I'm probably babbling, but I just drove past a car. It's raining out. His door was open. Nobody I could see inside. I'm like, huh, That looks a little suspicious in my opinion. Almost looks like bait. But anyways, back to this. I say walk your own path. I really do. Don't care about what everybody else is doing. I got into that trap once upon a time when I was an ugly duckling and I was growing up unpopular. You know, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could do this. Oh, everybody's doing this. This is where the cool kids are. Blah, 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 blah. And realistically, when I peered into that world, I was just like, you guys aren't doing anything, are you? This is all an illusion. It's all an illusion. This isn't fun. This isn't exciting. This isn't earth shattering. This isn't next level. This is just whatever. Like, why am I even concerned about what you're doing? Because this is really nothing that's worth writing about. You know, nothing really worth being that concerned about. Fomo. It's just a waste of time, my friends. It really is. On all different levels. Whether or not it's in high school, grade school, in your careers, in your life, it's it's break the trend. You're not missing out on anything. And if somebody's trying to convince you you're missing out on something, they're just enabling. They're trying to get you hooked. They're trying to be in control. They're trying to, you know, um, be bossy. They're trying to be power hungry. I mean, they're trying to manipulate. I mean, I can go on. There's really no reason, for you to be forced into doing something or pushed into being convinced to do something. You should walk your own path. Really look at all the elements before you decide to do something. That's the best. I'm really tired today. That's the best advice I can give when it comes to that. Yeah. I don't know. I am currently at the point where I have a tough road ahead of myself, and more so realizing, on my side of things that, um, yeah, this business idea journey I got into recently, I have to shelve it. I just do. I just cannot afford to do this. Cannot afford to do this. It's discouraging, but I think it's one further push um, towards the fact that, yeah, I definitely have to. I definitely have to find a job. A usual boring 9 to 5 type scenario. I don't have any choice. I mean, more so at this point, um, because recently finding out my daughter wants to do summer school. Well, she wants to do summer school, which is not covered by her scholarship. Um, yeah, so that requires me to have to cover the costs. And if I'm covering the costs, you don't have the money. Where do you find the money, right? And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Where am I finding the money? You know, that's just one of those mysteries in life. But you're kind of like, am I just at that next point of selling, or am I just at that next point of success? You know, is this something that I'm just on like the tip of to be able to succeed in, or or not? Like, am I denying myself the ability to do something when I'm close to the finish line? Right? That's the question I got to ask myself. Am I that close? You know? Or am I cutting myself short out of safety concerns? Out of the simple fact is that I just need to, right? That's I guess what the question comes down to. Um, do I make a further push to try to hang in there and exhaust everything that I have, or play it safe and go to where there's some sort of structure and you know backing. I guess the word I'm looking for. Something that's going to basically enable me to keep going. So restock, refuel, do whatever. You know, is that there? Don't know. But anyways, that's my concern. You know, I'm one person that would not do the FOMO thing. Um, really, is nothing that I really concern myself with. Because if I was doing the FOMO thing, I would be sticking into this business idea with all the encouragement and, quote unquote support that I've been getting from people that have been doing it for a while. And, I would power through it in hopes that it actually pays off. A lot of expertise and everything else there, and I understand that. But at the same time, I have to be realistic about the fact is that, you know, can I pull out of this? Is there a point to continuing on with this? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? In the short term, no, because I'd be exhausting everything that I have with no guarantee of return. No guarantee that I'm actually going to be able to succeed. So, kind of have to safeguard where you're making your bets. Some people are like, "Oh, well, the risk takers, that's who makes the money." Okay, well, had a few people let me down during this journey. A lot of hot air, a lot of false promises. Um, so, if anything, I've got an insight into people that I know are there for me. I've got an insight as to the true colors of some people. So, if anything, I'm not walking away from it without gaining anything. I know who I can rely on, who I can't rely on. So, it's been an interesting experience. I am truly disappointed. It just makes you realize how alone you really are. You know, how who you think has your back doesn't. You know, but yeah, yeah, that's true. I guess it really gets to the point where you think to yourself, hmm. I don't want to do a little babbling this morning, but sharing my thoughts with you. I've had people that I've reached out to that said I was saying, "Hey, insurance, you need it. It's important. Buy it." You know, but you know, people gave a lot of lip service, didn't follow through, ghosted. These are the same people that I'll remember on that short list when my ship comes in finally, right? When I finally get my big break, lottery win, whatever the case may be, these are not the people I'll be talking to. These are the people I'll basically be going, you know what? Fuck you. Fuck you. When I was trying to grow my business, where were you? Right? When I needed your support on one level or another, where were you? That's my flaw. That's my viewpoint. Fuck you. You know? When I truly was starving and I needed some support, where were you? I don't want to hear the excuses. You know? Fuck you. I have to achieve something only because of that mere fact. I do have to achieve something because of that mere fact. So I can actually say fuck you. And that's the thing. Back to the original topic of FOMO. Starting a business is being your own boss, walking your own path. There's still a little bit of potential FOMO in there because you're supposed to go through the blueprints. And if you don't, you're considered, oh, well, you didn't follow the structure. You didn't do this, you didn't do that. Okay. No, I am convinced I figured out the blueprint of it. I am convinced that I figured out what needs to be done. Um, I am convinced that what they say is true on both ends of the scale, but I'm not convinced that it's something that you can really do later on in life unless you get that break. If you don't get that break, it's just not happening. If I had the luxury of youth and less responsibility, but I don't. I don't. Wish I did. I just don't. Yep. 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 Anyways, I think that's about it for today. I mean, I got a lot rattling on in my head, but I don't want to bore you with the long pauses and the babbling. Um, it's too early in the morning and too much on the go. So I'm gonna wrap this up for today. Thanks for tuning in to Card Musings. Um, I got a lot of figuring out to do. I gotta dig my heels in and put in that little extra push to see whether or not I can come out of this in a better place than I currently am. Um, Failing that, I go back to the 9 to 5, working for somebody else. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll have some, what do they call them, angel donors that'll throw a few million my way, help the family out, help my daughter get through school. Who knows? Or maybe the lottery will come by, or, there's a lot of I wishes that hopefully can come around. But until then, just got to keep plugging away at it. I'm your host, Matt Morgan. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, share, everything else. Would appreciate you if you could. I'd say ask for donations if you have any spare to share. But if you don't, I understand today's world's kind of crazy with Cheeto Head happening in the States right now and all the uncertainties people are having. But love you just the same. Thanks again, and I will see you next episode.